Hi, my name is Ed Boon, creator of Mortal Kombat, and you're listening to This Week in Geek with Mike the Birdman Dodd and the rest of the Twig crew on This Week in Geek.
Typhon is free. You need my help. Let the tale of Phoenix be my redemption.
Oh, no, not another of your boring stories. How long is this going to take?
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to ThisWeekInGeek.net, and this is the prototype, where we are doing an extended discussion of Ubisoft's Immortals Fenyx Rising on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. I am your host, Mike the Birdman, but I'm not alone as I trek through the lands of ancient Greece. I'm joined by my immortal sidekick, who's not unlike Hermes and oddly annoying.
Alex, the producer.
That's right, guys. So we're going to be talking about this. Now, last week, Alex shared his first impressions of Immortals Fenyx Rising. Now, as we do preface this was a review me and Alex both did. A review code was provided to us by Ubisoft for purposes of this review. Alex got the gold version of this game. I did not. But that really doesn't change much of the gameplay experience. I did.
Yeah, especially not currently. Like, Seasons Pass will come my way. And there was like a couple items that I got as part of the, I guess, pre-order bonus that was part of it, but it didn't change the gameplay.
Yeah, I did spend a few dollars on this game, although not directly, surprisingly enough. Okay, so because I was playing, I guess, Valhalla, or I was playing Watch Dogs, I had leftover Ubisoft money or something, and it translated into 300 points or whatever. So I had enough to buy a sword. So I bought like the Sword of Orion or something. It looks like some cool blade. It doesn't do anything except look cool.
Yeah, they're cosmetics. They don't change any other aspect.
Yeah.
Except the horse that was part of the pre-order, or the gold
The
or whatever
bird?
deluxe edition.
Yeah.
No, the horse, you get the mount. There's a hell mount that looks cool. It has three layers of stamina, so you can do more without getting knocked off your horse on it.
Oh, okay.
Which
That's
to
neat.
be honest, I only ever mounted like twice ever.
I tamed the first creature, which is like this huge deer thing, and I pretty much stuck with that. I like it because I just liked jumping off of it. Like, I'd bolt across the land, jump off, and I'd like turbo boost and fly. So Alex covered a lot of the gameplay from last time, but my experience with it, this was the Legend of Zelda Hyrule's Creed would be how I would describe this game.
With a little Xena warrior princess.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, this game was not advertised well at all. Like, I remember there was an Adventure Time tie-in on Twitter because that's a thing, I guess. But I don't remember much advertising about this at all. And the reviews for this game have been really, really good. And this is a game you probably shouldn't sleep on. I was actually pleasantly surprised by it.
You know what? Hot take. It's the best Ubisoft title of the year. All round.
I would say the most accessible.
Like they're just, remember, don't get caught in thinking because Assassin's Creed has more content that it's better content.
Yeah, I like Assassin's Creed more because I'm more into the history of it, but I like Fenyx Rising's writing more because it's funny.
The big
that's
difference, the big difference I would notice between these two, like, because there will be comparisons, not so much to Watch Dogs because it is a different feel and look and everything, but between, if you want to compare Valhalla to this, one of the big differences is Valhalla is bordering. It doesn't quite hit it, but it borders on that. Oh my God, there's too much to do, and too much is samey. Some, like, there's good missions in it. There's lots of variety, but there is a lot of it when you go to towns, right? And you're like, well, this is the samey feel. There's a lot of samey feelness to a lot of it there. And the combat, while fun, can be frustrating at times. This game seems to flow better.
I think what I like about Phoenix the most is that it feels like a hybrid of Breath of the Wild and meets Assassin's Creed. The thing that I like about this game and I don't like about this game is the stamina meter. The stamina meter means you can't climb everything in sight.
I can.
Well, that's because you are way like I've played this game for about 20 hours. Well, no. You've beaten it.
Well, it's not just that. If you pick your gear right, if you end up finding the right type of gear, you get a piece of I think it's a helmet. It's either a helmet or an armor that gives you 2 more bars on your stamina. You can get a helmet that one of them there is I think it regenerates your stamina at a faster rate. So what that does when you're climbing is it means it drains slower. So I have like three full, like, you know how they have the bars on the left hand side, it's like so many blue bars per your line. I have 3 rows plus 2.
Wow.
So I can climb
almost
pretty
anything.
much to the top of almost anything without having to refill.
Well, I kind of liked being limited by the stamina bar because unlike Assassin's Creed, where it's more verticality and parkour everything, here you had to think about creative solutions to get up to things like, could you jump it? Could you fly up to it? And the flying mechanics in this game are really fun.
Yeah.
Like, I like the ability, like I'd find the tallest thing I could climb off of. And with my stamina being where it was, I could fly a good distance and I could just glide and explore. And this world is so colorful.
Farthest I got was 1 kilometer, over 1,000 meters. And I still had stamina because of where I was. And I was like, holy, and there's still a couple areas I couldn't get to without solving certain puzzles and stuff. What it really helped with having more stamina was swimming underwater events.
Yeah, like I didn't have as much stamina as, like I said, I didn't get as far as Alex, but I got enough feel for the exploration for this game where I never felt like the challenges were so insurmountable that I couldn't beat them eventually. Some of the problems required a little bit more brain power than what I was willing to expend at that time. But the puzzles were never hard. They were annoying at times.
I found
never hard.
I found 2 endgame puzzles I couldn't complete, or nearing the end. One involved a logic puzzle of 3 different weights of boxes to move and the order in which to move them, which I'm usually good at figuring that out, even if I have to grab a pen and paper. There's something I just wasn't getting, and I'm not sure what it was or why. It's probably something simple. It just wasn't clicking with me. And another involved platforming, and I'm a good platform player, where there were initially invisible blocks that come out. Think of, in Super Mario...
Mega Man or something?
No, Super Mario 64, not 64, or any of those types of games, where like you'll run along a path and then some block, instead of a thwomp coming down from the top, it comes from the side and pushes you off something. Well, think that, only they appear out of nowhere and you have to time yourself to jump on top of them and then jump to the next one as it appears before the first one disappears, because if they disappear, the wind will pull you and knock you off into a pit and die. Well, I did it about 150 times to get to 1 treasure chest, and I'm like, why am I bothering doing this? I just can't do it.
Was the gear at least worth it?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I couldn't get to the treasure. I'm like, I just can't do it. I will never, unless they change something in there, no matter how good attitude, I don't think that particular one's possible to get without it glitching on you. Like, there are a few situations where I'm like, they needed to test this platforming segment a little better because something's not adding up. I'm playing it at 60 FPS on performance mode, playing it on fidelity or higher quality mode. I noticed very little difference, except some of the lighting was a little better, some of the foliage looked a little better, but it does not lock it to 60. You're basically playing a 30 FPS game, and this game is much better experienced, in my personal opinion, in the 60 FPS 4K mode.
I played this game in fidelity mode. I just wanted it to look pretty.
That's I think 30-ish. Maybe it spikes up a little more. If you played it as long as I did on the other mode, you'll notice a difference. But if you just started it up and played it in fidelity mode, it would be fine for you.
Although I if you've been following my like social media, which is at Birdman or my Instagram, which is the same, I took a lot of pictures of this game. And in fact, so much so, my Phoenix is the background to my iPad now, because I have this purple-haired warrior girl with this war paint over her eye.
She looks like female Kratos.
Yeah, like she looks fucking cool. Like this is an art. Like when I saw people play as the male Phoenix, I kind of hated it. But when I played as the girl Phoenix, I really loved it.
You saw, like, I used photo mode to make my photo picture, and I've saved that as a background on my phone. You saw mine, where I made her look like an Orion from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And the detail, like they get freckles and stuff that you don't notice until it's a close up on them. I saw some people's posts like, look at the weird graphical issues. The issues I was seeing were people playing it on, was it PC or something, or maybe previous gen? I haven't encountered any graphical issues with like mouths not moving at the right time or anything. PS5 seemed to play perfect. And I'm playing specifically the PS5 version, not like accidentally playing the PS4 version on there or something. The only version of this game that I will say that you should only pick up if you have no other means to play any other version is the Switch version, because there is a significant downgrade in visual quality, even basing it on their official trailers.
I'm trying to think of what else I should mention. My character was the default character. All I did was change her eye color and change her hair color. And I don't know, I feel more connected. Like, I don't know, it's going to sound weird when I say it out loud. I was predestined to play this. Like, it looks great.
This is your femshep Greek goddess.
Kind of, yeah. Like, I really like this character. Like, I'm in love with the art design of this game. Like, it looks like I want it. Like, I don't know, like this, it looked boring with the trailers. The trailers do this game no justice.
Does it not feel like playing it? You're like, why didn't they just work with Nintendo and rename this Kid Icarus?
Yeah, like if this was Kid Icarus.
Like they should, Ubisoft has worked with Nintendo before on Kingdom Battle. If anything, this proves that they could make, or Ubisoft Quebec can make a really good
Kid Icarus
game. They have the verticality, they have the look down, the feel down. Playing it with 60 FPS, like it's using the commands to attack. It's buttery smooth, and there's no slowdowns, and just the missions are varied enough. Like it's like you've got to find a god who's been changed into a different form, find a way to free them from their form. Then you can follow to get extra powers from them. You follow a couple more of their missions, and as you go, you're through the funny narration. You're being taught Greek history and Greek mythology bit by bit. You're sort of acting out versions of the stories that have been told, and when they're ridiculous, Zeus will make fun of it, and it'd be like, that didn't make any sense, and they're like, but it was your idea. Well, then it was a very good idea.
Yeah, that's something, another thing that the trailers do no justice to the way this game was written. Like when Zeus and Prometheus start narrating events in the game, it eventually, they stop doing it as often when you get a little bit kind of later. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, they do it. They stop it a little bit until the end of the game, when you, not pure end game obviously, but when you are eventually going on the map and you see at the very top, it's like, oh, that's Mount Olympus there. When you go to do that portion, they narrate every step you take.
That's crazy.
It's pretty, and I'm not going to spoil any stories there, but that whole part of the island is like, remember the game, was it Bastion, where the narration would happen as you played? It was like, and he took a left-hand turn, but then you like moved right, like, or instead he went right. It's similar to that, only because everywhere you're moving up that island or that part of the island, everything you come across, if you turn your camera towards it, they'll start talking about what's there.
I mean,
and it becomes pretty heavy narrated at the end.
Like, the writing is so clever. It's well acted. Like, it's over the top hammy, but not annoyingly so. It's charming. Like, if you told me this was a Kid Icarus game, I would totally buy it.
It's like Sam Raimi, TV show kind of dialogue. That's why I'm like, it's Xena Warrior Princess, only because we're playing a Xena. But it's basically that sort of style of 90s action television show comedy, mixed with, a little more self-referential meta humor and fun gameplay. The puzzles, like, there's only so many that you have to do before you can be powerful enough to beat the game, but there's more you can get from doing the extras. There's side missions, and oh my god, Phosphor the bird. The bird is amazing. You get a little side companion early on if you follow one of the side missions, and it unlocks a godly power that you can use, which is calling the bird down to fire a bunch of meteorites down on enemies. What that can do is, if you're being overwhelmed by something, using him to fire on them will free up some space for you. And if you power him up, Michael, how much damage do you do when you attack right now, or when you were playing?
Oh, I don't remember. I wasn't doing a lot of heavy damage. Like, most of the damage I was dealing was with arrows.
Okay, so yeah, you're probably doing anywhere from like 50 to 150 damage is sort of the average.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because of my gear and because of my doing all the extra missions for all of the different gods and the gear levels that I have, plus the different gear combinations, because they have different cosmetics and different gears that you get. You get 3 standard weapons. You get your axe. You get your, which can also be used as a hammer. You get your sword, and you get arrows. But you can change the bows and everything, and then it changes some of your stats. I have mine set up in such a way that it also upgrades Phosphor, because beating optional bosses, you know how there's lieutenants that you can go around and beat up, and they're like, there's 4 lieutenants for every part of the island. Each one that you beat up and kill grants you a new skin for Phosphor that changes his look and changes his power. So I have one that makes him do 150% damage. There are others that do things like fire an extra shot, or it'll be like every shot that he makes will make a orb for stamina and health spawn on the ground, so that every time you call him out and fire, you can refill your health. So there's things like that you can do. Well, I have him powered up to the point where he's doing like 1,400 damage.
Holy shit!
He one shots almost everybody I attack.
So you're basically raining hellfire from the skies.
The giant purple flamed and dark flamed Cyclopses that are like endgame versions of Cyclopses. I only have to call. He does 3 or 4 hits on them, and it does like 50% of their damage. And there's like automatons, like robots and golems later on and stuff and in upgrading one of his powers, every one of the meteors has an explosion that does AoE effects to attack, does 500 damage to everybody around him. So I'll be like, fire an arrow, and then like 6 of these guys will run at me, and I'm like, hey birdie, pew pew pew, and he's like firing meteorites down on them and just laying waste. I will say this, like, because I'm not going to spoil like plot lines or anything, but for the final encounter boss battle, you don't get to use him, and I think that was very purposeful, not just for story. I think it's purposeful because it might be too easy if you were able to basically nuke the boss to death by if you were like me and figured out how to power him up like that. It would have been too easy.
Like, one of the things I will say about this game as we begin to kind of wind things down is I'm pleasantly surprised by the game loop in this. You can explore almost anywhere. Sometimes enemies will kick the shit out of you, but the enemy AI at times can be mind-numbingly stupid. There's one section I found.
The difficulty levels do make a difference, but I will preface one thing before you say, Michael. There's 2 areas you can't really get to. There are spots where there is if you see in the dungeons, but also on the main map, where it's like sparkly red, misty stuff in the air. That will drain your stamina, and if you're on easy or very easy, and you drain all your stamina, it'll make you fall to the ground. If you're on normal or higher, it'll drain to 0 and kill you.
Oh.
And the same goes for when you do eventually go to the north part of the map where there's mountains, you will find that if you fly or jump beyond a certain point, the sky looks blue. That will freeze and kill you if you don't follow the fire on the trail. So there's only 2 areas where you really can't explore until you're powerful enough, because if you don't have enough stamina by that point, there might be too much of a gap between areas that are warm and you'll die. So it is a way to force you to explore enough to get leveled up enough that you can make it up there.
I like the fact that if I wasn't powerful enough to take on a certain enemy, I could cheese them from a distance, which is why in the early game I was probably a little bit more powerful than I should have been, because I found some gear I shouldn't have been able to get.
Find a spot to hide and then rain arrows down and keep aggro so they don't run away.
Yep, that's all I did, is I sat at a range, and because I had just enough stamina, so I sat there, rained death upon them for, not even kidding, 30 minutes, because that's how low powered I was compared to them. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to sit here, listen to a podcast, and just keep shooting at them for a while. And I didn't get the experience for killing them, but I got the stuff, so it kind of worked out.
You want to know a little secret? I went back. I left one on purpose there.
Yeah.
After I did all that, not on the spot you're thinking of. I left the one where it's the griffin thing.
Yeah.
On that little island. I came back at the end game where I am now, and I was like, let's see how hard it is to beat him. And I fired my bird at him, and it killed him in 2 shots.
Oh, God.
So, yes, it is meant to be... That area is not meant to be endgame. It's meant to be 3/4 of the way through, I think.
But, yeah, like, there's just... I guess as my final impressions of this, I really like this. I am so impressed with it. Like, I am going to go back and finish this. I do want to 100% this. I want to be, first off, some of these puzzles, I got a fucking score to settle.
Oh, yeah. Also, consider this. Compared to every other Ubisoft title this year that's an action title like this is the best one if you want to have as a family game.
Yes, because there's no violence.
It's not multiplayer, but it's a game that kids can easily play, have tons of fun with. It's colorful, well made. They can laugh at the jokes. Some of the jokes only the adults would get, but there's nothing graphic. And when you get to the puzzles, it's something you could have to... I could see you and your wife or other people sitting down and going, here's a logic puzzle. How do I get through this? So you could work with your kids on it. It's challenging enough for adults later on, but the early puzzles, even kids will figure it out. So I could see this being a good thing. Like, a lot of people are going to be clamoring about, the only other big title releasing in December being Cyberpunk. But Cyberpunk is not a family game.
No, far fucking from it.
This, on the other hand, might be able to fill the void. Some people might have, like, maybe you play Assassin's Creed, but it's a little too dark for kids to get into. This is one kids could definitely get into.
Yeah, like, ultimately, if you're stuck to buy a game this holiday season, really consider getting this. Like, this was an unexpected breath of fresh air. And
when all this stuff was announced at, what was it, E3 last year?
Gods and Monsters is what this was originally called.
Yeah, Gods and... When we saw all these things, we first thought, we were like, oh man, is that going to be a new Kid Icarus game or a new thing that they partner with Nintendo? That's what everybody thought, and it wasn't. But remember how everybody in the media thought that this was going to be the afterthought game? And then it turns out that it's probably one of their strongest releases in several years.
I mean, one of the things, excuse me, I have to move here, is that it has a sense of humor about it. It has a sense of progression. Sure, there are certain things you need to accomplish to be powerful enough to finish the game. You could probably speed run this. I'm sure somebody will in the next month or two. But there's enough here for you to sink your teeth into.
I would love to see somebody try and speed run this. I think you have to put in at least 15 hours. If you sped run it, you'd have to be doing everything you can to build your stamina to go to the final areas, and it would be hard. But you can do this game. I spent a little more time than expected. I beat the game at 32 hours in. I probably could have done it in 20 to 25, And you know what? That would have been a sweet spot if all you wanted to do was play that. There's enough here to get another couple dozen hours. That's not even including the seasons past, where we're going to be getting 3 very different forms of content later on that we'll probably have to follow up on.
Yeah, like I spent 15 hours, and I spent a lot of my time just exploring because I wanted to see more of this world. And ultimately, I think I fell in love with this more than I thought I really would. Like I said, this is a game you really shouldn't sleep on. Like, I just wish the marketing budget did more with this, because I've seen nothing about it. Nobody's talking about it.
It was they tried to market it like, I don't know. It was almost being marketed like, here's God of War if it had more color, or here's Assassin's Creed if it had more color. They didn't really, from what I saw, let the charm of the game show through.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the strongest part about this game, I think, is if I had to rank it right now, the writing, I think, is really, really clever. And the action platforming is at about that sweet spot where it's not too hard, not too difficult. And the exploration, you are rewarded constantly and for figuring out small puzzles.
The map doesn't take 30 minutes to go across.
No.
If I wanted to go from the beginning part of the game, the most southern part to the most northern part, at the point where, if you don't have the stamina yet, it could take you half hour to run across it. But by the end of the game, I could get from one side to the other in about 10 minutes. And that's if I'm including having to beat up people and gathering stuff. You get powers where you can mass gather things in an area. The level up system, like, there's nothing too complex here. They found the sweet spot of the amount of collectability, the amount of exploration, the amount of puzzles, where it's not daunting.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a nice game that you can finish very easily before you go back to work in January. This is a great Christmas break game. That's what I find. This is a perfect bite-sized game.
Absolutely. If you're a high school kid, this is a game that you can get for Christmas, and within a week you could finish it.
Yeah, and you will feel like, yeah, I got my kind of money's worth. And if you want more, there is a season's pass. We don't know what's included outside some new quest lines and some new gear, I guess. We don't know. Alex,
there is a mode. I was reading about it. I think it's the final piece of DLC or final expansion. They're going to include a map that is based on Chinese folklore, where you're playing in, same sandbox, but Chinese gods.
So that sounds exciting.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Change it. Like, they've got the core down. It's just a matter of putting all the things in place.
So ultimately, our recommendation between the two of us: buy this. Don't sleep on it. It's really, really, really fun. It's actually great on next gen.
This is a full price purchase.
Yeah, like this is the sleeper hit of this quarter, without a doubt. Like, Ubisoft, I really wish they'd done a better job of advertising it. And I really hope reviewers like ourselves bring enough attention to it that this is a franchise, an art style, and gameplay that will continue. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from this team in the future. So that's going to do it for this edition of The Prototype. Now, to give you one final update for The Prototype, me and Alex have been talking about this for a little while. As of this recording, so on Sunday, December 7th, we did not get a copy of Cyberpunk 2077. However, we are still going to cover it, but what we're going to do is we're going to do Cyberpunk the first 100 hours. Me and Alex are taking completely separate routes through this game. Alex has no real knowledge of the game world. I have knowledge of Cyberpunk Red, which
this is purposeful.
Yes,
I'm
this is
going
purposeful.
in blind.
Yes, Alex knows nothing. I know up to the time of the Red, which is 2045. I know some of Cyberpunk 2020, and I reviewed the RPG about a week ago. So I'm going to choose the street playthrough of Night City, and I think you're going Corpo, right?
Corpo, and then depending on if we beat the main mission before 100 hours, who knows?
Yeah, so
then we might do a second playthrough, one of us trying out the Nomad. Now, so what that means is, as far as prototypes go for the end of the year, this week, probably shortly, maybe even the same day that the Game Awards air, we'll have a Game Awards special where we just talk quickly about what we saw and what we predict, and then before before we're back from our break, in quotes, for the regular show, we'll have our Cyberpunk talk.
Yeah, so look for our Cyberpunk talk either at the end of December or very early January. But regardless, we are going to Night City. It's going to be fantastic. So until next time, thank you for joining us here on ThisWeekInGeek.net. So for the prototype, we have been
Alex, the producer.
I've been Mike the Birdman, saying be excellent to each other. Pick this game up. You will not be sorry. So we'll catch you guys again for the Game Awards. We'll catch you guys again later, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net. Hi, kitty.
That prophecy is yours. What do you want?
To be a hero.
Now we're talking! You want this glory? Seize it!